We look back on ancient Rome as that most corrupt and decadent of societies, but it wasn't always so. Rome started out as a republic, as we did. She was strong and brave and civilized, as we were. She built a mighty capital and took great pride in it, as we have. But looking back on the fall of that republic over its long descent into a power-mad empire, we watched Nero fiddle as Rome burned and Caligula make his horse into a senator. Now here in America, we can watch a president fiddle as the economy burns, and we can watch as we turn not a horse into a senator, but a senator into a horse. Part of a horse anyway, the southbound end of a northbound horse. Harry Reid, dirty Harry Reid, the man who declared from the Senate floor that the war in Iraq was lost at the exact instant it became won, has sunk into a low, surpassed by even Nancy Pelosi, and that's saying something. Joining me now to stand in amazed horror at the ethical free fall of this once great republic are Steve Green and Scott Ott. Gents, let's listen to the Senate Majority Leader explain how politics will be handled in the new empire.
The word's out that he hasn't paid any taxes for 10 years. Let him prove that he has paid taxes, because he hasn't.
The word's out. The word's out that Mitt Romney has not paid taxes for 10 years, so make him prove that he paid taxes. Scotty, in America now, as in ancient Rome, you are guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. Put aside the tactics and the electioneering for a moment. Have you ever seen anything this disgraceful from an American politician standing on the floor of the Congress?
You know, the framers of the Constitution knew that they would need to protect speech among members of Congress, and so they built that into the Constitution, that these guys couldn't be essentially busted for what they said when they're on the floor of the Senate. But the framers also felt that the Senate, with its longer term and representing the states as it did at that time, would be a more thoughtful, deliberative body, one that would be made up of a higher sort of individual. You know, the kind of person that wouldn't get down on the Senate floor and make an unfounded accusation against somebody just to give some sort of advantage to his political party in an atmosphere where he was immune from punishment. This is one of the most despicable things that I've ever seen a U.S. senator did. Remember the uproar when a member of Congress actually shouted out, "You lie," during a presidential speech? That was horrendous. How could you possibly do that? Where is the uproar from the people who are concerned about the dignity of the Senate?
Yeah, dignity of the Senate. Yeah, that's a thought. All right, Steve, let's get politics and tactics back into it. This is all a ploy to pressure Mitt Romney to release his tax returns, so they need the numbers so they can gin up their class warfare. Now, this unsourced slander on the part of this reptile is scandalous, but is the end goal of this giant class warfare against successful people, is that worse?
Oh, you know, I have a list of 400 names in the State Department that Harry Reid has personally killed with his own bare hands. Well, no, the method is worse. The method is absolutely worse, because it upends the way we do things in this country. It upends our highest principles, that we're all equal before the law, that we are all presumed innocent, that you can't simply slander somebody in a public forum like that for your own personal gain. Look, you can smear somebody and maybe win an election, but when you turn American founding principles on its head like this, you do lasting damage to the country, and that's exactly what Harry Reid, alleged pederast, has done.
Lasting damage is exactly the point I'm trying to make here, and I'm glad you mentioned that latest one, because once again, the conservative side of the blogosphere tries to make a counterattack anyway. As Steve mentioned, if baseless rumors can issue from the Senate Majority Leader, then baseless rumors can be directed at the Senate Majority Leader. Now let's flip our usual order and let's go back to Steve again. Steve, Glenn Reynolds, Iowa Hawk, Jim Treacher, and others have been concerned, and rightfully in my opinion, that Harry Reid has refused to deny the allegations that he's a serial pederast. I think it's up to Harry Reid to prove that he isn't. What is he covering up, Steve, and why? And do you think this kind of snark helps our side, or do you think it hurts?
You know what? It absolutely helps. I believe it does. I've talked before about the Romney campaign needing to run as a pyramid organization, a pyramid of 3 levels. At the top, the smallest bit is the actual Romney campaign. Their job is to make him look presidential, because the hardest thing about unseating an incumbent president is he's got the jet, he's got the podium, he's got all that stuff, so the challenger looks smaller by comparison. It's just, that's the way it is. The second layer, the next wider layer, is the 527s and the independent groups. Their job, and they've been doing an admirable job of it, is to get nasty. It's to run the negative ads. And the broadest level, that's us. That's our viewers. That's the people on Twitter. That's the people on Facebook. Right. Their job is to have fun with this stuff, to get down and dirty with this stuff. And you know what? We're doing that, and I think everybody's doing a great job with it. I was so proud to see the instant response from everybody that we're not going to take this stuff anymore. We're not.
So the question, of course, is who did Harry Reid fondle, and when did he fondle him? Scott, you're an elected official, and you're a good man also. You know, this entire idea of a republic is based upon the idea that our elected officials be good people. What do you think the long-term end result will be of our electing men like Harry Reid and tolerating tactics like this?
Well, and what you said is what John Adams would say, and that, you know, the Republic will not survive if we don't have virtuous men in control of it. But Madison and others also realize that virtuous men are sometimes few and far between, and even those who are virtuous on some occasions are not on others. And so they set up a system of checks and balances and the ability of the people to remove their representatives from office. And I think that's a situation that we have here. And this guy needs to be removed from office as fast as possible. You know, I was thinking as Steve was talking about that satirical lampooning that some on the right are doing with this false accusation. It's obviously fake. It's obviously satire. It's obviously parody. But what Harry Reid is doing should be parody, and it's not.
Well, Harry Reid was just reelected last cycle. He's got a 6-year term, but his term as Senate Majority Leader can end this November if we all get out and do our jobs. Well, meanwhile, my friends, Mitt Romney may win the election in November, but he's going to lose this battle. He's going to have to release those tax returns. Mitt Romney has that same amazed look that John McCain and Sarah Palin sometimes had, that look of disbelief, that absolutely stunned sense that things could not possibly have gotten this bad, but they have gotten this bad. This cancer in Washington is not just about Barack Obama, and it's not just about progressivism. In order for these people to obtain the power they have always craved, they must not only do away with conservative politicians, they must in fact destroy the entire idea of the rule of law, things like the presumption of innocence and so on. So when the Senate Majority Leader, and it's no accident that the Democratic mascot is a jackass, by the way, openly says from the floor of the Senate that a man is guilty until he can prove himself innocent, when he says it directly out of his mouth, guilty until proven innocent, then it is 1 minute to midnight in the halls of this republic. For PJTV, I'm Bill Woodall.